Time, presented by State Farm. Chris Miles here with two All-Stars, Smitty, and the newest addition to our show, NBA champion and three-time All-Star, Antoine Walker. Great to have you on the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it, fellas. Now.
Respect knuckles all around. Now, Antoine, in 8 of your 12 years in the league, you played 80 or more games, right? And that includes 5 years of 82 games. How much pride do you take in that fact about your career?
It's one thing that gets overlooked is me being able to have a lot of durability. I was the guy that played below the rims. It's probably one of the main reasons why I wasn't a high flyer. But it's something I love to play the game, man. I'm from the old school. It's all about playing and competing. I would rather much play in games than practice. You know, you always say that. So I'm one of those guys. I like to play in the game. I ain't really like to practice. So, you know, if I can get in the game and play, that's when I wanted to play. So I was one of those guys that just love to play in the game, love to compete. And, you know, we don't want to practice all the time. I want to take no time off. I want to get in there and play some games.
I just love how you started the show with a little AI. We talk about
he been humble. I got a chance to meet him. You remember in Chicago with the USA team, he was yelling and screaming. We were on the dream team, and we were like, who is this? Then I remember Ken Norman, my teammate, said, Antoine, young fella can go. And I've always watched this game. I loved it because, from Michigan, we love big guards. Twan was a big guard, a big forward, and can play some center if he had to. He was one of those guys that understood the game, Chris, can make plays. You didn't have to run a play for him because he just had a great feel for the game. So, and then he wore 8. So, I was always, anybody wore 8, I'm going to have to watch. And he's from the Midwest, not New York. We can shoot from the Midwest, Chris.
Oh, that Ocho is special. I know both of you guys can. Another big guy, but not necessarily a great shooter, Ben Simmons. Some new news on him from Shams Charania, our good friend of the program, says net star Ben Simmons dealing with back soreness and reconditioning process that requires further strengthening of the area over a period of time before he returns. Brooklyn has no set timetable for Simmons' return. It's uncertain whether the three-time All-Star will clear necessary return-to-play hurdles for Nets' March 10th return trip to Philadelphia. That's even mentioned, right? We're not even in March yet. So I got to hear from both you guys. In fact, Antoine, since you said you love to play the games, this is a superstar talent that has missed 60 games this season, and now this. What do you make of it?
I think when he got traded, he tried to rev up his workouts, and he wanted to get back on the court right away. And this is like a setback. They probably won't come out and say it. And when you're sitting out that time, and you guys, you're sitting out that period of time, you're working out, but you're not really working out. You're not going 100%. You're not getting that full workout because all the pros, they're playing right now. Everybody's working out. And so you don't have anybody really to go against to test yourself. So I know he probably stayed in good shape, kept his weight down. But now when you're trying to rev it up, it looks like it's a setback. Hopefully it's nothing serious. We can get him on the court this season. But it just like a setback from a guy who probably tried to turn it on and get himself going and get ready to play in the season after he finally got the trade he was looking for.
Antoine said it, and that's we can't question, Chris, about an injury. But I just know if all that went on, I would have that date circled, Twan. Right. And I know he's a competitor because I would want to play. I mean, I would want to go back there and play. And usually every time I got traded to the team, I went back to play. I enjoyed that because you don't mind being the villain. You don't mind, especially what's going on. So, unfortunately for him, doesn't like he'll get a chance to play. We don't know, but I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I'm trying to imagine him, KD, and Kyrie, and all those shooters. I'm looking forward. I think it's going to be a good fit. But I need Ben Simmons, once he's healthy, to come bring it.
The revenge game. We talk about it all the time when a guy faces his former team and shows out. But, Smitty, do you think it's odd that was mentioned in this particular release? Because, again, there's no timetable set yet. It's like, he's probably not going to be available by March 10th.
Who released it? Ben didn't release that, did he? I mean, I was, Nets media. I don't know who that was.
That was Shams Charania.
Okay.
Reported.
I mean, I'm never going to question Shams because I love Shams, but I just think I like to hear from players. Like, if the player said it, then we can have a better conversation. But outside people said it, I mean, it could be true. I mean, he could be out longer. But the one thing is, I think as a player, I always wanted to control my own narrative in the media, Twan. I always wanted to control, whether I'm going to say I'm coming back, whether or not I pick the date. I don't want anybody else picking the date. And usually old school, you don't pick the date. You just want to go by feel. If you feel healthy, you go out there and play. If he's not healthy, he should let you know. But We always gonna make a little sensation about, things. Got to put a little sauce on it, Chris. What you think?
But you got to think there's probably some truth to it because the Nets are struggling a little bit. They need to win some games. They can be looking, maybe not make the play-in game, not knowing how long Durant's going to be out and Kyrie still being on his restrictions. So they need to get guys back on the court so they can have a chance to get into the playoffs and see if they can make a little run. Obviously, this team is built to be good for the next couple years when you think about contractually having 4 years left and Durant signing his big deal. So they're going to be together for a while. So I think if I'm the Nets, you want everybody healthy. If you don't feel like you can make a legitimate run this season, then you hold back. You're going to bring back KD right now. You let KD continue to try to get healthy and get back to 100%. But I think with them trying to make a playoff run, this has got to be real. It might be a real setback because I couldn't see him not want to get back on the court right now.
We know what the Nets are without Kevin Durant. They were in first place. He gets injured. They're in 8th place. We all understand that. But with Kyrie Irving, they are 4-10 this year. But Kyrie's putting up Kyrie numbers. 24 points per game. They scored 20 or more 11 times. Still, they've lost 13 of their last 15, and those 2 wins were with Seth Curry and Andre Drummond joining the team. So, Smitty, what do you make of the record for the Nets with Kyrie in the lineup?
Well, I think for them, they've had no continuity. We all know, and he hasn't either. He's set out for a long time. We know he's an unbelievable talent. He's won a championship. He's made for the big moments. People always question, can Kyrie win? He's had some problems when he's been by himself, but most superstars do. I think for Kyrie, he just got to keep playing basketball. He loves to play the game, and he's so exciting. I look forward to watching him play. And I just think right now for Kyrie is he has to focus on himself, getting ready. He has to focus, like Antoine said, if they have a run this year, which I know he probably thinks they do, that's going to be up to management and coaching staff. But him and Durant is enough. Him and Durant is enough to get a chance to have this run. And I will say, if they end up in 8th after the play-in, the Miami Heat to Chicago, that's not an 8th seed I want to see, Twan. I don't want to see Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie in the 8th seed, and you're the number 1 seed. You're the Heat, you worked your butt off, and you get a chance to play Brooklyn. That's going to be tough.
And don't forget to mention my man S. Curry when you're speaking of the names of the players on that team. And now, Goran Dragic. Now, I get that, he's a 13-year vet, 35 years old, but he was brought in the buyout market and is prepared to play now. So the debut of Goran Dragic should happen tonight. Twan, what is he going to bring to the table?
Another guard that can make plays, IQ, he really can score the basketball. Add another shooter. The Nets do have a lot of shooters, especially when Joe Harris returns, but just adding another shooter and a guy with some toughness, a lot of competitiveness in him. He's a guy that, with the Heat, was great. When they made that finals run, he played an intricate part in that before he got hurt. So he's going to be a great addition to that team, and right now they had to do something because you don't know what's going to happen with this Kyrie situation going in and out the lineup. It's just, it's tough for the Brooklyn Nets, and when you look at their whole makeup, it's really been because they've been hurt. So they've been holding on because they haven't had a team all season long 100%. In that losing streak, don't forget James Harden was a part of that. He set out probably 4 or 5 of those games, too, that they end up losing. So you got to put that in perspective, too. But he's going to be a great addition to their team, gives them some more scoring. And then, now they can play different lineups in that backcourt. Kyrie, him, Patty Mills, Steph Curry. So they got great shooting to put around Durant.
And, you mentioned that we think of eating up minutes, and that's something James Harden was absolutely doing. He was top 3 all season in minutes played. Now you got to find multiple players to fill that time, right?
Yeah, you do. And I think Twan said it best. If they don't lift the mandate, in New York, Kyrie will only get a chance to play road games. So this is insurance. And there's nothing wrong with having a vet like Goran Dragic. He's tough. Knows how to play. He was Steve Nash's teammate in Phoenix, so they know each other. Steve Nash knows him extremely well, and he won't have to play 30 minutes. You just need him to come in as a vet and settle things down. And sometimes you throw a vet in there at big times, he can make plays. He's not scared of the moment. I just got a chance to see him in Miami. He looks good. He's ready to go. We talked about it. He said he's ready to go. So he's excited about it, and I think the Nets, that's a great pickup.
Well, how about the defending champs in the Milwaukee Bucks? And we see what Giannis is doing this season, kind of flying under the radar as an MVP candidate amongst the league leaders, second in scoring, right? 7th in rebounds, 19th in assists. I know that's a little bit farther down, but as a guy that's second in scoring, still a big deal for Giannis. That team came out of the East last year, won the title. Antoine, for Milwaukee, what's the value winning a late season game like this against the Nets, a team that you eliminated in the postseason last year, trying to have that mental edge?
I think for them, it's about getting more consistent. One thing about this Bucks team, they haven't been consistent all year. And when they big three play, and they've had some injuries this season where they haven't been together, but when the big three play, they're a very dominant team when they hold. So they got to get some consistency. There's no way they shouldn't be on top of the Eastern Conference, especially with Giannis having the season that he's having, Bobby Portis with possibly win the most improved player the way he's playing this year. So they should be on top of the Eastern Conference right now. So they're underachieving a little bit. They're not where they need to be. But their team, they're still my favorite to come out the East. I just like them when they're healthy. I think Giannis separates himself from anybody else in the Eastern Conference, maybe besides Durant. But I still think Milwaukee's in good shape. And tonight's going to be tough because they're not playing full strength. So these are the games sometimes that Milwaukee takes off, and they'll end up losing this game. You need them. They got to start taking care of business and getting on top of the Eastern Conference.
That's a great point that you make about what their season has been like. And Smitty, you got to take advantage of the schedule, right? So the Bucks had 3 home games before the All-Star break. Then you get a week off, and now they have 3 more home games. How critical is this stretch for Milwaukee in trying to, like Antoine was saying, move up from 4th in the East to try to get, 1st or 2nd, just being 4 games out?
Yeah, if you want it, they got to go for it. I think right now Bud is trying to balance how much do he play those guys. There's a huge balance because they had a long run and obviously went in the finals. Then Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday played in the Olympics. They had some injuries to a lot of guys. They had health and safety protocol. Brook Lopez has been out. They've had some guys in and out of the lineup, but they're 3 games back, and I think now is the time for them to make that run. They still have a chance to even win the East as far as we having home court advantage, maybe being in 1st or 2nd. But I think right now, Bud is trying to manage wins versus manage rest. And I think they still have not on the same page, but I think they have enough, like Antoine. I don't see anybody right now in the East, until we get a chance to see Brooklyn full, until we got to see more of a Philly. I don't see anybody beat Milwaukee once they get going, because they have the guy that's going to draw a double and a triple. And he understands how to win now, and he's got that taste of winning. It's going to be hard to beat the Bucks.
Take that double and that triple, give you 50 to close out the NBA Finals.
He don't mind touching people either with the bag. He don't mind running you over, so that's why I like him.
And on the flip side of that, another MVP candidate that's more in the mid-range with his game.